Alright, I'm going to check our end plate and the bearings. My end plate checking tool is called a narrow glide front axle with a bunch of wheel spacers. That's how you check your end plate. So you put a bearing in there. Like that. Put your spacer sleeve in there. Your bearing. Some more spacers. Nut to tighten it down. And check your end play. Appears to have end play. Appears to have a lot of end play. It's probably more than you need. So, yeah, pretty. That's a lot of end play. See right here? Quite a bit. So that means the sleeve's too long. So it needs to be a shorter sleeve. Now, if you don't have the axle in there, you can't check the end play. It has to hold the bearings in line with everything, so it fits right in. Okay, so this needs to be turned down. So you can do that in a lathe. So you got to figure out what size this is. We're doing a lathe over here. We're going to figure out how much we're going to cut off also. That'd be the next problem. So first thing I do is measure what you have so you know, and you can cut it. Alright, next thing is we're going to work on our lathe a little bit here, because we just got done cutting something else. Remember what that part was? So we got to take out that nice new bit that's in here. Put a crappy one back in there. That's the good one. That's the crappy one. That's really crappy. We'll rotate it a little to a newer surface. That bit's worn out, but we're going to keep using it because we're cheap around here. Alright. So the first thing I do is measure this, see what we got. So we're about 29. Check it again. About 29 and a half, almost 30. Okay, so we need to shorten it up a little bit. See how the surface looks? See anything wrong with either side? Cut the bad one. This one looks pretty even on both sides. So we'll just take one and guess and go with that. It's not a chuck key and a chuck. Who did that? Ooh, it's got burrs in that thing. I've been beating on stuff. Where's my good file? We'll get the fine file. Yeah. Somebody's been abusing the tools around here again. Wonder who that could have been. Alright, I don't make it perfect, I'm just going to make it better. Okay. So we come over here, put it right up against the edge there, put it in 0. I already pulled back 2 thou, so hopefully it doesn't cut. This might work over here today. Yep. To get rid of, so take off 4 thou. That's a lot. That's a big cut. Blow the chips out so you don't get no dirt in there. So that's the surface we just cut. That's the old one. So we go back over here, put it back together, and see what we got. If we cut too much, we're screwed. If we didn't cut enough, we just come back and cut more. Which one's better? Or which one's worse? Still got a lot. Seems like it got looser, not tighter. Okay. Now we get to go do it again. It didn't seem like I cut anything. All of a sudden it'll be tight. I don't know how much more we got to go. So I make these in about 10 thou increments. This one's a little different than my regular ones. So we're just going to keep cutting on the one until I cut too much, and then we'll have to deal with it. For now, let's keep going like we're doing. One more thou. Okay, let's see how much we actually cut. So theoretically we cut 8. We were at 29.5. We're at 21.5. We did cut 8. Pretty accurate. Usually cuts a little extra. Okay, now I'm going to do it again. Let's see what we got. still loose. Yeah, I don't know about this. That's a lot of cutting. I'm thinking something's wrong. I'm thinking there's a bearing race that's not in all the way or something. So we're gonna try something different here. 8 thou is a lot to cut out. A lot. We're going to see if the bearing races are actually all the way in. I don't think it is. I think one of them's hanging up. That's why I use a press to put them in. Does a better job. Something is not correct. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. I don't know if there's a race loose or something. Okay, that is not moving. Okay. Flip it over. Try the other side. Not very flat over there. Because we're sitting on screw heads, they're not flat. First thing I do is find something flat. So I can give me a hold right on here instead of on the top of the screw heads. So let's go and find one of those. Alright, this should be good enough. Drop. In the center. Away a little bit. Yeah. Appears to be on there. Don't feel any movement. Alright, let's find out if it made any difference. Just because I didn't feel it doesn't mean it didn't move. Alright, go back down here. Check to see what's going on. Something is not right. Still loose. Normally you make 3 to 5 thou adjustments max. It's more like 2 to 3 thou a lot of times. We already cut 8. And it looks like we hardly did anything. Still got the inflow in there, center. Alright. So it's better to double check than do it wrong. Alright, time for another cut. I don't think I want to cut 4 though. It's a lot of cutting, like I said. All of a sudden it's going to get tight. It's going to get tight quick. I think I'll cut 3. No more than 3 though. The reason I'm cutting slow is I cut too much before. Lots of times. It's a pain in the butt when you gotta cut these out of a piece of solid bar stock. It takes a long time to do that. I've done that more than once. Alright, dinner. Let's see what we got this time. At some point we're going to get what we want. Oh, not yet. Still feels the same. These bearings must really be different than Timken. Way, way different. Yeah, they go back to Timken and have some problems. Stay with all balls. I wonder if we're hitting on something else. I don't know. Let me double check. Oh, what else it could be hitting on? Maybe there's something in there that's not letting it go all the way. I don't know. Keep cutting. 3 more made no difference. That's what I don't understand. I keep cutting and it feels the same each time I do it. It doesn't change. Should be making massive changes every time I cut. I don't know what the deal is. Something is not right. At this point though, whatever the problem is, if it ain't right, we've already destroyed this piece. So I just keep cutting on it. Just wasting time at this point. So you got 4, 4, 4, and 3. That's 15 thou. That's a lot of material removal. Yeah, we're still showing 15. Yeah, maybe 14. Either way, it's a lot shorter than it was. See the tremendous changes I'm doing. That's why I keep second doubting myself. I understand there's no difference. Yeah. I don't know. I'll just keep cutting. That's all I can do. At some point it's going to cut enough. At some point it's going to cut. Cut 4. Thinking about 3. Cut 4. One more time. Gotta be getting close. that made a difference. Finally. Because I didn't cut any more. We're there. Yeah, another thou would be too much. So you can't really see it moving. There's probably only 2 thou in there. Okay, finally. Finally got enough. That was a lot of cutting. A lot more than it should have been. Okay. Good deal. Okay. Now we need to do a little bearing packing. Using our bearing packer, or easy packer, or something they call that. You take your bearing, you stuff it down in here, and you push on it. One way is correct, one way is wrong, and I never remember which way is which. Push on it by hand. See the grease coming up through there? Packs it in there good. That stuffs the bearings full of grease. There you go. It's impacted with grease now. That's how you do it, see? Now it's done. So I still put a little more grease on the outside and lube up the rest of everything else too, but for now that one's good. Where's the other one at? Here's the other one. Do the same thing. Easy pack with hydraulic pressure. The needle barely even moves. There you go, I got a lot of extra grease that time. There we go, we got some extra grease now. We're running low on grease. Alright, so now we grease up the hub down here. Get it well lubed. And stuff it together. Okay. First thing we do is take a bunch of grease, lube up the darn race in here. And you take this, lube up the outside. You just get the outside of the bearings well wet. Pack that all full on top. So lubricate that really well. stuff inside the hub here. What I like to do is put a layer of grease on the inside. Just to make sure it's got a good layer in there. And a seal. Always lubricate your seal with grease too. Good layer in there. Okay. So you just put a good layer of grease across the top of the rollers there. Lubed in there real good. And put any more in that, just waste it. Even that's half of that's really not even needed, but it makes me feel better when I see grease in there. So too much is just a bunch of waste. But I'd rather have a little extra than not enough. Okay, let's push that in. It's too big. Too small. Looks good. Seals in. Wipe off the excess. See, you don't want to break. Brakes don't like to be greased. Alright. I'm going to do the other side. Now don't forget to put the sleeve in there. And yes, I have done that. You do have to take it back apart. Same deal, lubricate the outside real good. Make sure everything's coated. Drop in the hole. Take some of the excess there. Stuff it in there. And the other seal wherever it ran off to. There we go. One wheel all snotted up. So, seals are flush. You can see the new grease in there. So that's high performance PJ1 grease. It's your racing grease. That's what I use in this. It's green color. When I use regular grease, I use blue grease. And if I use Trobodyne grease, it's black color. Different ones. Alright, I'll be back. I gotta clean my hands off. It's ready to go back together. I want to make sure I don't get grease in my brakes. So, get all cleaned up. Be back.